I'm driving a vast network of forestry trails, living on the road on a months-long overland expedition in my homemade Land Cruiser camper build, putting this beast through its paces on some of the continent's most insane four-wheel drive and extreme long-distance trails on a 7,000-mile off-road route, a world-first attempt to circumnavigate the Iberian Peninsula without using paved roads. This is the Iberian Trail. I'm currently in the north of Spain, about 500 kilometers into my route, driving this network of forestry trails on a mountainside. After trying and failing to transit the Picos de Europa via a high mountain pass to the left on this map, I've been forced to drive around this mountain range, backtracking on myself via the red line that you see on this map. I'm currently exploring this forestry area in search of a place to spend the night. Unusually for me on this expedition, I'm following Google Maps, and as many of you'll know, it doesn't always suggest sensible routes. To go right here? What the actual No way I'm going up that Google Maps. Google Maps was suggesting that I should drive up a 50-degree fire lane. Yeah, that is definitely not a road. After a bit of manoeuvring, I managed to perform a U-turn and nose the cruiser back down the hill, away from that insane obstacle that Google wanted me to take on. I'm obviously in a Land Cruiser, but in situations like this, I always laugh and think about a Fiat 500 or something tiny, being given the exact same instructions as I just received from Maps. I let the cruiser pick its way back down towards the main trail and performed a bit of a manoeuvre to the right in low 4 to continue up the mountain on a search for a place to camp on one of the many more well-kept trails in this network. Holy sh**, brother. What a view, man. The track opened out into a high clearing on the side of the mountain, with spectacular vistas of the Picos de Europa just opposite. I rolled the cruiser to a halt at an intersection with 3 possible options. I am like high up in a really kind of wild maze of logging trails. So we've climbed up, again, pretty high. Google Maps has me wanting to take some insane roads, 50-degree bloody slopes that have been made by like JCBs and stuff. And Google Maps is just like, yeah, go up there. It's like, no, pal, thanks very much, I don't want to die. So yeah, I'm looking for a camp spot. There's supposed to be a torre here, like for viewing, like a viewing platform thing. Like, look at this, man, it's like unbelievable. Absolutely gorgeous views everywhere, like, look, I mean, look at that, like, incredible. So yeah, I'm gonna try and find a place to camp close to this torre. Could do with eating, honestly. I haven't eaten all day apart from that breakfast. I'm getting pretty like woozy, you know. I need to eat. I pushed on into the track network, hungry and ready to make camp. Keeping to a regular routine of meals is difficult, if not impossible, on a 7,000-mile expedition. And I'm noticing that as I continue to fill out this map, I'm actually losing weight and getting skinnier as a consequence of not eating regular square meals. One of the hazards of the job, as they say. And I know one thing for sure, I'd rather be out here and underweight than sitting at a desk all my life like I used to. As I pushed on along the trail into the twilight, the trees started to fall away from side to side as the track took me directly along the bony ridgeline of this particular mountain. What the f***, brother? No way. The view of the snowy, jagged peaks just up ahead felt almost too good to be true, and I had to stop to take it in for a minute. This right here is the ridgeline of the mountain. I'm driving across the ridgeline right now, and view is unbelievable, mate. Picos de Europa, man. It's just gorgeous. Sometimes on this trail there are moments that I feel will be burned into my consciousness forever. Being out here in the wild with no one else around, driving remote networks of four-wheel drive tracks in a Land Cruiser that I built myself feels almost surreal. This life is by no means easy and quite often really, really hard, with long, exhausting days and lonely nights. But I think that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make to experience these moments of true, raw magnificence. And I remind myself every day to be grateful for that. Wow. So this is the tower, obviously. I'm gonna go down there and kind of climb it and take some pictures probably, I guess. Wow. Oh man, I just shit myself thinking that was oil coming out the bottom of the transmission there, but no, it's just water, thank God. Okay, so prohibido el paso, and it's got a big old padlock on there. So, yeah, I guess I'm not going up the torre. I assume that it's actually for like checking out forest fires and stuff, rather than just like people chilling like I am. So yeah, back to the cruiser it is, and we'll continue to try and find a campsite. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I continued along the trail in the shadow of the mighty Picos de Europa, pushing the vehicle into the bends and curves of this undulating track, perched high on the side of a mountain, opposite even higher ones. With the vehicle in high 4 gear in 4-wheel drive, it ate up these wide, sandy tracks easily. This sort of terrain is the Land Cruiser's forte, and I really enjoy driving trails like this behind the wheel of this yellow beast. I've been kind of wondering about this as a camp spot, honestly. This looks kind of reasonable. I mean, it's not very hidden, but equally, maybe that's okay. Can like back up into there quite nicely. It's spectacular. I did a quick PTSD check of my hubs to make sure that everything was looking okay, and jumped back behind the wheel to level up the car. Yeah, I'm going to try to back up into there. I think this will do us for the night, honestly. Well, it's bloody spectacular, it really is. It's a lovely campsite. It's nice and warm down here. Well, not warm, but like a lot warmer than it was up in those mountains right there. And that's my spot. I'm going to pop the roof, try and kind of tidy up from the day, and put some things back in their rightful places and that, and then make some food because I'm absolutely starving. I haven't eaten since like 9 AM this morning. And yeah, we'll probably have an early night tonight, I think. Try and make some progress tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but today I feel a little bit lonely. I don't know why. Whether it's like, I don't know, having had good company last night, and yeah, I don't know what it is. Just feel a little bit melancholy. But I suppose these times are to be expected on a months-long solo trip. I mean, it was inevitable, to be honest. Yeah, it's like Saturday night, I kind of keep thinking about like where all my friends will be right now. In Mexico, I've got a nice group. In the UK, I've got a nice group too, and they're all doing their things together and, you know, having beers. And yeah, I'm just kind of like out here on my own, driving trails on my own. Sometimes it makes me wonder why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, why do I feel the compulsion to drive around the world on my bill? It's just a bit fucking weird, isn't it? But yeah, I am reminded daily as to why I'm doing it. It's incredible. I mean, look at this. I'll be alright, I think, once I'm ensconced in there and, you know, get some food in me. That's probably the other thing. I tend to get a bit, like, hopeless when I'm not fed enough. That was really spiky. So yeah, I'm gonna do all that basically. Good morning. So it's morning on the mountainside, so I'm gonna get up and see what's about me, make some breakfast, and we'll head on and hit the trail. You know, this is the first morning that I haven't had to put the night heater on to warm the place up. It's pretty, like, ambient in terms of temperature. It's remarkable. I kind of wonder if this is just taking turning a corner, you know. But yeah, either way, I'm not complaining because fighting the cold like I have been for so long, it does become kind of exhausting. Okay, so on the menu today is another simple breakfast with nice fresh bread, some cheese, and I'm going to cook up some chorizo as well and some eggs to go on top of the bread. So this is what I've got going on. I love this pan. I've got the bread toasting in there, but also melting the cheese, so I'm going to take that off now, put the eggs in there, and then put the eggs on top, so I've got like a melty, cheesy, eggy goo thing. Then I'll cook up the chorizo after the eggs, and I'll just have that kind of on the side. So it might not look like much, but this is going to be banging, I'm telling you. With breakfast done with and dishes washed up, I started packing down the car and getting ready to leave this awesome wild camp spot that I'd called home for the night. It's been a long and lazy morning at camp, actually. I felt like I needed to kind of just chill, you know, after so many days of non-stop moving. Yeah, now we're gonna head out, and I need to figure out exactly where I'm going next. So I'm gonna be heading towards Asturias, but yeah, I'm gonna head down off this mountain and then cross the Picos using paved roads, because obviously the only way to cross without using paved roads, we failed at yesterday. So I'm gonna be on tarmac for the next kind of probably hour or so, and then find some unpaved roads and rejoin my trail on the other side of the Picos. But what a place, what an incredible place. I fired the cruiser up, turned the lights on, and gave the engine a bit of diesel. Gravel and twigs crunching under my tyres as I let the cruiser roll out of my camp spot for the night to rejoin the track. Okay, back in the saddle. Honestly, it's quite warm today. It's very, very weird. I've not had this kind of temperature the entire trip so far. Okay, let's figure out where the hell we're going. So Sotres was the place that I was trying to get to on the other side of the pass. So it went from Espinama to Sotres. That's deep in the middle of the Picos de Europa on the other side of the mountains here. So I'm not going to make Sotres this trip. I've just got to kind of come to terms with that, and I'll come back on my way back around and do that pass in the summer when the snow has melted, so that I can say that I've completed my circumnavigation off-road. So right now, we're going to go up and rejoin my trail in a town called, I think it's Cangas de Oris. This is a place that's recommended to me by Carlos, the guy the other day who stumbled across my camp and we drank a lot of beers. So he says it's absolutely beautiful and I'll be able to continue heading west. I've had a few local recommendations. I was going to just go to Galicia and head up to the northernmost point of the Iberian Peninsula. But a few different people have messaged me and said you have to go to Leon while you're here because it's much more wild than Galicia. There's tons of fantastic four-wheel drive. There's ancient Roman roads and stuff that you can drive through, which you know I love. So I think that I'm probably going to continue heading westwards and then drop down into Leon, which is on the other side of the Picos, kind of down in the south a little bit, and then head back up to Galicia and still do the headland stuff. So yeah, basically I'm just going to get west, slightly west of the Picos today, probably make camp again around 6 or 7 at night. I'll try and find a place kind of similar to this if we can. This is ideal. Wow, look at that. That is one ancient ass tree. That is like 1,000 years old, that tree, I reckon. That is remarkable to see something that old still alive. And we've dropped from forestry area to what is quite evidently old growth forest. Like, this is ancient forest land here. And this pathway is cut into the mountainside up through it, so I guess they preserved this part of the forest because it's heritage, you know, like this is ancient forestry. I continued dropping down through the network of forestry trails, dropping off altitude and heading down towards the valley, meandering slowly towards a road, and knowing that I was about to join the first piece of paved road for any length of time on this expedition so far. Alright, here we go. So this is paved road for the next 80 kilometers. So I'm going to go round the Picos, all the way around, and I'll be in Cangas de Oris on the other side, where I would have come through if I'd been able to pass through Sotres on the four-wheel drive route. So yeah, we're going to do that and rejoin my route on the other side, and I will come back here and do that crossing, because I can't say I've done it unless I've done that crossing, you know. So yeah, onwards. I continued on northwards while trending west, along a winding single-track road, beset with the heavy plant and machinery of roadworks. It followed a meandering mountain river to the left, made up, no doubt, of the rainfall and snowmelt from the very mountains that I just spent the last few weeks in. I'd begun this expedition weeks before in the Basque Country. I'd now transited Cantabria from east to west in its entirety, and I felt as though I'd become intimately acquainted with it over the weeks. I was now about to cross into my third province of this trip, the legendary Asturias. I'd hoped to be crossing this state line at 2,000 meters above sea level, triumphantly opening up a pass for the season. But that for now was not to be. This winding mountain route following a river through the Picos would serve as my gateway to Spain's wild, untamed west and the next leg of my Iberian Trail expedition.